popular here, no one believes the claims he's making about his actions in Crimea.
When Russia says that Russian-speaking people in Crimea are under attack, they're under threat, you say...
It's not true. It's not true all over Ukraine, so it's unfair. So it's...
Do you worry? Do you worry about what's happening?
Yeah, of course, because I think they're trying to divide Ukraine like to east and west.
The new government in Kiev has called up military reservists. Even those not of military age will tell you they're ready to fight.
He said, my friend said that I'm ready to give a bribe for military commission. Just take me to army. I want to fight for my country. 55 years.
You want to fight?
Behind the bravado, the bravery, and pride, there's also so much sadness. The photos of those who died in this square, a silent, sober reminder of the blood that's been spilt. Young and old, fathers and sons, these are the faces of the dead. The living come here to remember, to say prayers, light candles, lay flowers. They walk the streets where blood was shed.
You can still find the remnants of the fight that took place here everywhere in the square. This is a stretcher. It was used to carry the wounded or the dead. And over here, makeshift weapons, mostly defensive. These are shields that were used against snipers. This is made out of wood. Certainly wouldn't stop a bullet, with handmade handles. Someone's placed flowers here as sort of a memorial. And you see this a lot, too, as well. These are cobblestones which had been dug up from the street, which were hurled by protesters against police.
Everything has been left as it was. It's all still here, still ready to be used once again.
The square is still fortified with barricades, layers of them. There's 3 layers here of tires that have been laid out. There's also these to try to stop vehicles from coming down. Here are the more cobblestones that were used as weapons, and you still find weapons all around. They're saving everything. These are bottles, beer bottles that were used as for Molotov cocktails that have wires tied around the top to make it easier to throw them. They'd be filled with gasoline. You see a gasoline canister over here, just boxes of cases of beer bottles over here. And this is one of the most impressive barricades. It's just made with every object they could find: tires, metal, fencing, sheetrock, anything they could find. They just piled up beneath this bridge to try to stop riot police from coming down and entering the square.
For now, the fighting in Kiev is over. All eyes are on Crimea. In Independence Square, however, the protesters insist they'll keep up their defenses in case the new government fails them, as they say the old one just did.
And amid all the talk tonight of de-escalation and an off-ramp for Vladimir Putin, there is no way to predict what is going to come next over the next 12 and 24 hours. Jill Doherty joins us once again. She's a senior fellow at Harvard University's Kennedy School of Government, also CNN's former Moscow bureau chief. She joins us here and will be for the next several days. We're focusing, because we're here in Kiev, on the people here in Kiev, but the perspective is very different in other parts of Ukraine, in the east, in Crimea.
It is, and I think, for them, they are frightened. Whether that's justified or not, they are.
You're talking about Russian-speaking, Russian-oriented.
Yes, in Crimea or in certain eastern parts of Ukraine. And whether that's justified or not, that's what many of them feel. It's being whipped up.
And it is true that the new government that took power here after the old president fled, one of the first things they did was talking about basically lowering the importance of the Russian language, which strikes at the heart. Forbidding, which strikes at the heart of people in eastern parts of Ukraine.
They did backtrack on that.
They did. They have.
And the government has been trying to take some steps, and that's what this whole thing that Secretary Kerry was talking about. Maybe the off-ramp will be encouraging this new government to do the things that will make the people in Crimea, the Russian speakers, feel that they will be protected, because that's very, very important. Anderson, really, we're still paying the price for so many things that happened in World War II. that were never really resolved. This country has had problems way before, for decades really, and we're still paying the price.
I was thinking about World War II today as you walk through the square. It really feels like with these kind of makeshift barricades that you're going back in time.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's extraordinary here what's been going on. We're going to obviously continue to cover it on CNN. I'll be back on AC360 tomorrow. More from Kiev. Coming up next, more pot shots at President Obama from one Republican, Senator Lindsey Graham, tying the crisis to Benghazi. I'll show you how he did that. Also, leading Republican defends the president. Senator Marco Rubio joins us coming up next. We'll be right back.